Hi everyone, welcome back. Unfortunately, back inside this time as the weather has turned back on us. I've even had to put the heating back on, but that's okay. I am going to take us through another stretching, kind of like a post-workout. I just went for a run, so a bit of a post-run stretching class. Should be less than 30 minutes. So if you just start today at the back of your mat, come into your Tadasana, that mountain pose that we've practiced. So feet together, toes touching, heels together or slightly apart, pelvis tucked under, shoulder blades back and down, shoulders down, neck long, crown of the head to the sky, and your palms can facing in towards your thighs. Close your eyes and just start to lengthen your inhale, lengthen your exhale. In through your nose, out through your nose. In through your nose, out through your nose. On our next inhale, on your next exhale, tuck your chin into your chest and start to roll down your spine slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. Keep your knees slightly bent until your hands come to the floor. And then just walk your hands out into your plank position. You can bring your knees down if you need to, or if you're ready already, you can start to hold a plank position. And then push back into your downward facing dog. You can bring your feet just hip width apart. And just a gentle first downward facing dog, maybe paddling your legs out one at a time, bending your knees, pressing down through those shoulder blades, maybe bringing it up and back, just really loosening yourself up here. Shaking your head out, no. Shaking it out, yes. Then start to walk your hands back towards your feet again. You can keep your knees slightly bent. Grab both of your elbows with your hands and just shake yourself out here. Maybe rocking from side to side, bouncing around, just really loosening up those lower back muscles. Letting your elbows go, and then in reverse, rolling back up your spine, keeping your knees bent to protect your hamstrings. And coming back up to standing, rolling your shoulders at the top. Let's do that one more time. Tucking your chin under, rolling down your spine till your hands come to the mat. And then walking your hands out to the front of the mat into your plank position. Hold here for 1, 2, 3. Pushing back into your downward facing dog. You can keep moving, or you can now focus on holding this position, really drawing your armpits towards one another underneath you, widening those shoulder blades, gripping the mat with your fingertips, pushing away, tailbone to the sky, heels pulling down towards the mat. Then walking your hands back towards your feet and hanging out here. Giving it a bounce, maybe a sway. And then letting that go and rolling back up and coming back up to standing. From here, just take a wide step forward, bring your left foot forward towards the front of the mat. And then we're going to drop down into, I'm not very balanced today, drop down into our lunging position. So here we're really opening up the hip flexors. Start in an upright, start with your knee off of the mat. We're going to bring it down in a second, but just start to rock back and forth and really open things up here. Now you can drop your back knee down to the mat and then really push forward. You can let that back foot lay flat on the mat and really think about pushing your weight forward. Feeling a really nice stretch on that right hand side, front thigh and hip flexor. We've done this a few times before, but it's such a good stretch. Draw your heels back, draw your hips back, the hips over your bent knee. Straighten out that front leg and fold over that extended front leg. Toes flexed, giving our hamstring a bit of a stretch here. Be gentle, you can keep it bent if you need to. Focus on keeping your spine long. Bend that front knee again. Walk that left foot out to the left-hand side of the mat and come up to your toes on your right foot. Bring both of your hands inside your left foot into that lizard pose. Try to keep your left knee tucked in towards you. You can stay up here, you can drop your knee down, you can even come down to your elbows if you have that flexibility. For me, just staying right here feels good. Breathe into whatever sensation you're feeling. And coming back up onto those back toes into your lunge and step your foot back into your downward facing dog. Hold it here, breathe here for a couple of breaths. Really making this a strong pose. Really focusing on that tilting of your tailbone, pushing away from the ground. Heels drawing down to the mat. Walking your hands back towards your feet, and this time, place the backs of your hands on the mat and bring your toes on top of the palms with your toes in your wrist. So your fingertips are facing backwards, you've grabbed under, you're just standing on top of your hands basically. Then from here, lengthen your spine and start to fold forward, trying to straighten your knees and bring the crown of your head towards the mat. Breathing here. Shift your weight forward into the balls of your feet and really give your wrists a little massage with your toes. And then letting that go, bringing your hands out from underneath your feet one by one and just rolling back up your spine. This time stepping your right foot forward in a big step and coming back down into that lunge position. Keeping your spine straight, maybe rocking back and forth a little bit, just feeling everything start to open up here. Dropping your back knee to the mat, letting that foot rest on the back of the mat, and then pushing your hips forward, intensifying the stretch. Good. From here, drawing your hips back, lengthening out that front leg. Flexing your toes, spine long, folding over that extended front leg, getting a good stretch in your hamstring. And always breathing. Bending your right leg and then walking that right foot out towards the right side of the mat, bringing both of your hands to the inside of the right foot and coming back up onto your left toes into that lizard position. Keeping your right knee tucked in beside you, moving your foot further out to the right if you need some more space. And again, you can stay up here, you can bring your knee back down, and you can even bring your forearms down to the mat or to a block. But really focus on keeping that knee tucked in towards you, not letting it flare out too much. If you came down to your elbows, coming back up to your hands, tuck that back toe under and then push back again into your downward facing dog. Hold this here for a few breaths. Walking your hands back towards your feet again. This time, bring your feet together a bit more. They can still be slightly apart. You're going to basically cup your heels with your fingers. So you're going to bring your forearms behind your calf muscles and cup underneath your heels. So you're holding the backs of your heels basically. Your knees will start off bent, and then you'll start to lengthen your legs, bringing your head towards your shins. Think about shifting your weight into the balls of your feet. It's just a bit of a more intense hamstring stretch. If you can't hold the backs of your heels, you're fine to have your hands on the backs of your calves or wherever you can reach. One more breath here. Then releasing your heels, and again, rolling up your spine to a standing position. Fantastic. It's coming to stand in the middle of your mat, facing me. And let's take our feet wider than hip width apart. Pivot your toes so that they're pigeon toed, so that they're facing in slightly, so they're not straight and they're not out, they're kind of on an inward angle. Tuck your pelvis under, breathe in to lengthen your spine, and then from here, start to fold forward, just hinging from your hips, coming down towards the mat. Now, depending on how flexible you are, you might be up here, and that's fine. You want to focus on keeping your spine long. If you're more flexible and you can come down, you're thinking about bringing the crown of your head towards the mat. And then you can take your hands either to the outsides of your feet. You can walk them back to help you kind of pull yourself back a little bit. You want to be shifting your weight into the balls of your feet. And just breathing here, spine long. If you haven't already, bring your hands back to just underneath your shoulders. And then from here, walk your hands towards the right hand side, bending your right knee and coming into, I think we call this like a runner's lunge. And then coming back up and moving over to the left hand side. Just really stretching out the inner thighs. Let's do 2 more each side. Just following your breath here. I don't care if your heel on your bent knee is up or down. For me, it feels, I don't think I can keep it down. If you can keep it down and that feels good to you, go for it. Now coming back to the center, feet still facing forward, slightly inwards. Bring your right hand to the center of the mat. Push away from the floor with that right arm so you've got a nice straight line. And then twist your body open to the left-hand side and then raise your left arm to the sky. I want you to have that engagement with your right arm first to really feel strong and help you push yourself open using that arm. And thinking about twisting your chest to the side rather than taking it in your lower back. Breathing here. And then doing it in the opposite side. So placing your left arm on the floor, really pushing away with that left arm. Twist your chest to the right hand side and then lifting your right arm up to the sky and gazing up towards your right arm. You should feel a really nice stretch in your sides here and in your inner thigh. Great, coming back to center, bringing both hands back down to the mat. Walk your heels in a little bit, and you can now have your feet facing out towards the edges of your mat and come into your malasana, your yogi squat. So just squatting here, maybe giving it a little bounce from side to side. Then we're going to do a twist. So you've got two options for your twist here. You can twist or you can bind. So you can just kind of tuck your right shoulder into your right knee and just open out to the right hand side. Or if you want to bind, you want to take your right shoulder, tuck it into your inside of your right knee, and then take your arm on the outside of your knee towards the back of your body. And then your left arm is going to come around and grab that right hand and looking over your left shoulder. So if your arm is on the outside of your knee rather than going inside. Breathing here and letting that go, coming back to your squat in the middle and then doing the same thing on the other side. So really tucking that left elbow into the left knee, wrapping your hand around the back, and then bringing your right hand around the back to meet it. Letting that go. And then from here, let's just drop our bum to the mat and come into a straddle position. So as always, we're keeping our legs really engaged. We're thinking about an outward rotation of our thighs. We're going to start with our head to knee pose. So we're going to go over let's start with like a bit of a side stretch. So again, thinking about bringing your left shoulder into the inside of your left thigh. We're just going to tuck in at the side here. And you want to really think about opening up to the ceiling. And this may be it for you. If this is it, that's absolutely fine. If you want to go deeper, you want to really keep that opening. But maybe you can bring your left hand to meet your left toes and even bring your right arm over to meet your foot also. But really focusing on keeping your chest open towards the ceiling and making sure you can see the ceiling. Feet flexed, legs engaged. Breathing here. Releasing that. Same thing on the other side. So bringing your right arm inside of your right knee. Stretching yourself open. Twisting yourself open to the ceiling. And breathing here. Coming back up. Now bringing both of your feet in so that your soles of your feet are facing each other and opening them up like a book. And using your elbows to push your knees down towards the mat, but also making sure that you're keeping your spine long. You can bend forward from the hips slightly to give yourself a little bit of an extra stretch here. So from here, bringing your knees in, giving them a bit of a shake. Lengthen your left leg out in front of you. Bend your right knee and bring the sole of your right foot inside the left thigh. Face your body over that extended left leg. Inhale to lengthen, and on your exhale, fold forward, spine long, over that extended left leg. Really think about bringing the crown of your head towards your toes rather than your forehead to your knee. So you're really keeping that spine long and thinking about lengthening forward. If you can grab around your foot, do so. You can clasp your hands behind it. And you can use your hands to pull you deeper. Coming back up. Lengthening the right leg this time, bending the left foot in towards your thigh. Again, inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold over that extended right leg. Coming back up, and I'll do both legs. So strengthening both legs behind you, maybe pulling the fleshy part of your bum out of the way so that your sit bones are close to the ground. Inhale to lengthen your spine, and on your exhale, hinging forward from your hips and bringing the crown of your head towards your toes. Flexing your toes, legs engaged, reaching behind those toes and using the leverage to pull you deeper. On your inhale, lengthen. On your exhale, go deeper. Letting that go, coming back up. Sitting facing the long side of your mat again. Coming up into just a seated position with your knees bent. Bring your arms out right in front of you, parallel to the mat. And we're going to lower down slowly with control for a count of 5. So start by engaging your ab muscles, and then slowly for 5, 4, keeping your feet on the mat, 3, 2, 1. Good, coming down. Bend your knees, soles of the feet on the mat, and then bring your right ankle over your left knee, right toes flexed, and bring that left knee in towards you, grabbing behind your thigh. Really think about pushing that right knee away from you. Also make sure that your weight hasn't fallen too far to the right hand side. Bring it back to center. Maybe pushing that knee away from you if you need a little bit more. Breathing here. And letting that go. Now bringing your left foot this time, your left ankle over your right knee. Drawing that right knee in towards you and giving yourself a stretch here. Thread the needle. You can push that knee away from you if it gives you a little bit extra. If you need a bit extra stretch. And letting that go. Then we're just going to do a final twist. So bringing your right knee over your left knee. Some of you might be able to lock your feet, bind your feet behind each other, and drawing both of those knees over to the left hand side, keeping your right shoulder on the mat and lengthening your right arm over to the right hand side. Just giving yourself a spinal twist here. Coming back to center and switching over. So left knee over right. Find your feet if you can. Drop both of your knees over to the right hand side. Left shoulder down. Left arm lengthened. Gaze over to those left fingertips. Coming back to center. And then just letting your legs go long. Letting your feet just fall out from one another. Make sure you're comfortable against the mat. Arms out by your side, palms facing up. And just breathe in. And feel your body against the mat. Notice how it feels. Hopefully it feels quite loose, but also worked. And you can stay here in your Savasana for as long as you please. Thank you for joining me again this week, and we'll be back next week with our final vinyasa flow. Namaste.